So yesterday, we covered Joe Biden's comments to Charlamagne Tha God on The Breakfast Club, where he basically said, you ain't black if you're even considering voting for Donald Trump. And Biden's tried to walk those comments back. Some people are still trying to defend Joe Biden. A lot of corporate Democrats, a lot of neoliberal Democrats are trying to defend his remarks. But beyond the most hardcore Biden supporters, everyone knows this was a disaster. If they say otherwise, they're delusional or lying or both. And it's gotten so bad that Donald Trump's campaign is selling t-shirts with the "You Ain't Black" quote with Joe Biden's name on it. It's just a simple black and white t-shirt with the black text saying hashtag "You Ain't Black" with Joe Biden there. And what it's trying to do is remind folks that Joe Biden takes black votes for granted, that African Americans are just expected to vote for him, and that if they dare consider voting for Donald Trump, they aren't really black. And this is supposed to keep this in the public mindset. Now, here's the thing with Donald Trump doing this. Donald Trump is objectively worse than Joe Biden on this issue and on most issues. I'm not a Biden defender. I've never told my viewers to vote for Joe Biden, but I've also never told them to vote for Donald Trump, nor will I ever do that. The point here is I don't know if this shirt's actually going to be effective at representing black people. We've seen all sorts of instances on the internet of, black Republican outreach efforts basically just being for white people in the Republican Party to feel good about themselves. We've seen the two older white folks wearing a Blacks for Trump shirt. We've seen pictures of black Republican meetings where the people are all white. We've seen these things. So don't think for a second that this is a shirt that's going to be worn by a ton of African American people. In fact, you might see it very awkwardly and very inappropriately being worn by white Republicans, which will have the exact opposite effect. And I know a lot of the people who are mad at Biden will also be mad at any white person that wears a shirt like that. Nonetheless, this was a bad moment for Joe Biden. Again, as I noted in a previous video, I don't necessarily think this is going to cause a large amount of African Americans, of black people, to go and vote for Donald Trump. I really don't think so. And I don't even think a lot of people who were going to vote for Biden are going to stop that. But I think this will be demotivating in the wider black community. And black voters are an absolutely crucial engine to the success of the Democratic Party. They really are. They are fundamental in close races for the Democrats to win elections, because it's not just votes, it's donations, it's volunteering, it's community outreach, it's putting up lawn signs, it's all of these things that aren't directly votes, but that gain more votes than one person on their own can give. I've talked about this. If you donate money to a campaign, you don't just give them your vote, you give them the means to spend the money to get more votes. So you, in essence, are contributing more than one vote. You're contributing your vote plus a fraction or maybe multiple votes from other people. And if you demotivate your base, they might still vote for you, but they won't fight for you. And that's a crucial distinction. And I think it's also important to note that people like myself, we don't even really have the full pulse on this. Like, I'm a white person as well. I don't have the experience of a minority or specifically a black American or any sort of, a disadvantaged person in the United States. And I think it's crucial to realize that a lot of prominent black voices, whether it's Nina Turner, Brianna Joy Gray, so many others like Tim Black, a prominent YouTuber and podcaster, he's done so much great work in showing how this could cause real harm to the Democratic effort, because it's not necessarily about black people voting for Trump, but just not wanting to vote for Biden either. And I think Ben Dixon specifically put it fantastically on Twitter late yesterday. Ben's a great YouTuber and podcaster. He was the one that broke some of the bad news about Michael Bloomberg that really started to sink his campaign. But Ben says here, and he says this yesterday, I'm telling you, it's the cultural saturation of Biden's interview that is going to hit the hardest. The interview is going to be everywhere politicians do not have access to and are not welcome to show up with their empty promises. And so And what he's saying is specifically the "you ain't black" quote, but likely the wider context of that interview is going to be seen in spaces that politicians, Republican or Democrat, they mostly don't go to, either because, again, they're not welcome or because they don't even try. And that in these spaces, this is going to hurt the Democratic effort. It might not move votes to Trump, but it's going to hurt. You're seeing so many progressive black activists in the United States warn about how this is a bigger deal than Joe Biden making an ass of himself in one interview. This will have lasting consequences. It's not just about Trump selling a t-shirt. It's not just about the fact that that t-shirt will be disproportionately worn by white people that vote for Donald Trump. It's about the fact that Joe Biden took the mask off and in the process might have alienated one of the core engines of Democratic Party success. If he loses in November, and there's a chance he might, polling looks okay now, but that can change quickly. If he loses in November, you could look back to this moment as one of the key ones.